Hello and welcome to Getting Your Money's Worth, the show that focuses on value. I'm Judith West, and our guest today is Susan Shapiro Barash, author of Little White Lies, Deep Dark Secrets, The Truth About Why Women Lie. Hi, and thanks for being on this show.
Thanks for having me.
So, women lie?
Are you surprised?
No, but...
Yes, and one of the things they lie about is money.
They lie about money.
It's right up there on the list.
How do they lie about money? How much they are spending? They keep it from their husband? What is the waste?
Yes, absolutely, but also, Judith, how much they make.
Don't men lie about that too, Susan?
They do, but not for the same reasons. Women really do it as a protective mechanism, as a coping mechanism. And because I think they've been taught, I mean, you know, the grandmothers all said, put some money away for a rainy day.
So they don't want to reveal how much they have.
That's right. You really want it to just be something that's all your own.
It's kind of like, you know, that little cache of money that was pushed in between in the bra.
Exactly. That's right. But I think that women even lie about what something cost. I mean, based on my studies. So,
do they exaggerate the cost or deflate it?
It depends on, you know, to whom they're speaking. Right. So sometimes they'll say that it was on sale if they're talking to their husbands, and if they're talking to a friend, they might say that it costs more to impress them because materialism is a big part of it.
Right. Women lie. This whole business about women lying about money, are women insecure around money?
I think that some women are insecure around money, and I think that women also value money more than they want to say, which is a form of lying. So they're not really saying that it's important to be with someone who makes money or for they themselves to earn as much money as they do.
I recently read that right now in this economic meltdown that we're having, that women are worrying about it more than men. Mm-hmm. It's interesting that you point this out.
Yes, money is different for women than men.
You have also written a book about the changing role of women as wives.
Yes.
Has it really changed that much? How different is the 21st century wife from, I don't know, several decades ago?
Well, ironically, the 21st century wife, the young wife, the millennial daughter who becomes married today, next year, she wants a life much more as her grandmother had it than her own mother, who worked hard, and this goes back to money.
It is ironic.
It's ironic, and it's sort of as if the pendulum swings. So what these women are looking for is a much more provided for existence.
Yeah, they want a husband. They want to marry a man that will take care of them.
That's right.
Yeah. So is this rebellion against mom that wasn't there when they were growing up?
Partly, and I think also it's partly looking at a mother who hit the glass ceiling, who still makes 77 cents on the dollar, who missed the ballet recital to be at some company meeting, and they're saying, why would I want to do that? And also the young men today are saying the same thing because they had the same experience.
Yeah, so the young men don't want to work as hard as dad, and the young women don't want to work as hard as mom. So who's gonna?
The young men will work hard if they can have the traditional role, which is much more like the 50s couple.
So they're willing to work hard if they can be in charge.
If they can be in charge, and also what these young couples are looking at, and young women in particular, is a moneyed life. It's not that they're saying we don't need such a moneyed life, it's that they're saying one of us should do it and the other should take care of the family. And it should be you because it's a traditional role.
Is it possible that this whole all the incremental progress that women made may go by the wayside?
Well, I hope not, but let's say that... I certainly hope
not.
Yes, I think that's very disturbing. And, you know, I teach gender studies at Marymount Manhattan College.
I want to ask you about that. Right.
And my young female students really don't value feminism, and I think that that's across the board. I think that other college campuses would have young women students who would reflect the same attitude. So I think that's really fascinating. And what they don't understand is that women couldn't have the options they did today if it wasn't for the feminist movement, including making money.
Right, exactly. But you know, I noticed that the younger wives that we're talking about that want to be taken care of, they still want to be pretty much in control. How do the men feel about that?
It's interesting. I think that
they're not willing to give up the control to somebody else.
Right, they're not. And I think that what they do, and this goes back to the study on why women lie, is they often present themselves as in a slightly different light than they end up wanting to be. So in other words, when a lot of these women, you know, there are more women, Judith, in colleges and graduate schools today than men in America. So it isn't that they don't earn the degree. It isn't that they don't seek these careers. It's that they're very willing to opt out. And I think that that is where they might trick a husband or lie for the cause and say, sure, I'm going to have this great career, and then one day,
you know, a man gets married, he thinks he's going to have a wife that's going to produce a 6-figure income.
Right.
Maybe, or certainly a high five. And then she decides she wants to stay home.
That's right. And so, and then some of the men are fine with it. And there is full disclosure for some couples, but some of the young women with whom I've spoken have sort of misled or lied about it.
Yeah. But these women that have college degrees and are often very smart, and they're home, what do they do with all this excess energy? Is that what produces helicopter moms, Susan?
You're so right. That's exactly what I was going to tell you. It produces a mother who runs the PTA as if she's chairman of the board.
Yeah, so with a spreadsheet. And
right, they're uber moms.
Mom.
Right, because they have all the training to really run a company or to run a division of a company, and here they are at home. And so they very much hone in on their children. The children are really at the
they
center.
map out the activities and they plan it with target dates as though each kid was a project.
That's right, and there's a lot of competition. And actually, I wrote a book called Tripping the Prom Queen, The Truth About Women in Rivalry. And when I interviewed the women for that, the stay-at-home mothers are often very competitive. Right. So that's what happens.
Are you finding that there is no longer a stigma attached to stay-at-home moms?
I think it depends with whom you speak. I think that the stay-at-home mothers feel very defensive and very involved and as if they have recognition. But I think that for the working mothers, there's still a lot of friction between the two factions. I think that hasn't lessened in the last few years.
It's funny, though, Susan, isn't it? You teach gender studies. It's funny to me how the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Oh, it's really fascinating, especially when it comes to marriage. Marriage is just so highly touted, really a coveted event.
It's really, women want to. But women want to marry, but they want to marry power guys.
Yes, and
these very smart, successful women still want to get their status from whom they marry. How is that?
Or they want to feel that their partner is as educated and sophisticated as they are. I think that's it. But what's interesting?
Are there enough educated, sophisticated men for all these women going to colleges?
There's sometimes a dearth. Some women say that, and we know that there are less men and more women in our society, in the country anyway. But what I was going to say is that actually when women are major breadwinners, where they make more than their husbands, they still want their husbands to take responsibility financially for the traditional roles. So that's curious.
Yeah. Is that a bad marriage when the wife makes more than the husband?
Sometimes it can cause a lot of tension in the marriage. It's not for every man because of the patriarchal culture we live in. Right. So not every man likes that.
Yeah. What is gender studies?
Oh, it's the study of the societal prescriptions for men and women.
Is that in the DNA or in the environment? Where do those prescriptions come from?
It's nature and nurture. It really is, because so much of how we behave is culturally expected and taught. But then within our nature, we also have these roles that are very female or very male.
Yeah. Is that likely to always be?
Oh, I think so. I do. I mean, it's been going on for a jillion years.
Right. So fast forward 100 years from now, are we going to have women sitting around talking about glass ceilings and empowerment of women?
Oh, I hope that it's improved. I mean, all women are really asking for is equality.
Right, but the equality that women are asking for comes very incrementally.
But that's because we live in a patriarchal culture.
Right.
Now, with our new president and so many barriers broken, I think that it will really filter to, I think that women will have more options, minority women, minority men. I think that everything will change now.
Yeah. Do you find in all of your studies and research that women support each other?
No, I don't.
No.
Tripping the Prom Queen, that study. I think that women are very secretive about being envious and jealous of one another because we're raised to believe that what would we do without our women friends.
I mean, isn't that really one of the biggest downfalls for women in the corporate world? They don't have this network that men do.
And the mentoring. They don't have the mentoring.
To push
oh,
them
yes,
along.
It's a big problem. And the real problem is that it's been such a limited goods theory that, there haven't been enough big jobs for women. And therefore, the women who get them aren't so ready to relinquish them or teach.
It's like they want to keep them to themselves.
That's right.
I made it the hard way, and I want
Why should I help you?
Why should I help you? Or I want to be distinct. I want to be unusual. I want to go into the board meeting and be the only female or one of two among 14 men.
There haven't been enough opportunities, and that's why it manifests that way.
Yeah, I think that for me, not for me, but for a lot of women, it was very surprising that their reaction to women, to Hillary Clinton and Sarah Palin.
Well, different reactions.
Different, but disdain, non-acceptance maybe is a better word for both of them.
Yes, but I think that they struck very different chords. I mean, again, they were both tokens, and that's the unfortunate part. That there was, and Sarah Palin, it seems, was chosen very specifically because she was an attractive woman. So that upset some women because that really is a form of tokenism. Hillary Clinton is a very capable woman who really could have had this job, and I think that she was criticized by women as much as men. It was really very surprising.
And women were, Hillary Clinton was criticized for either being too harsh or too soft.
She couldn't win.
Right, and any woman who's been in the corporate world ought to have been able to empathize with that, Susan.
That's right, but remember when I said that there's this limited goods theory? So powerful women often are threatening to everyday women because of this idea that there's not enough pie. So in other words, instead of thinking, if we have this woman who does well, then there will be more options, which is logical. Yeah. There's this sense, if she's so great, then who am I? And so they feel threatened. Martha Stewart, look at how she's been maligned over the years.
Right, and
she's really a very powerful woman.
There was many years ago, I don't even remember, but I remember reading about it not long ago, there was a whole series of adjectives from Catalyst magazine about, he's ambitious and she's aggressive. The very same personality traits. He sticks to his principles, and she's inflexible.
That's right. There's no question, Judith, that the standards are not the same.
And the pejorative, the words pejorative are much more for
that an ambitious woman is looked at as too aggressive and overly powerful.
We only have a minute left, but I want to go back to your gender studies. What is it that is your goal in your classroom with women today?
Well, the goal in the classroom is for the students to learn about how our roles are really dictated by society, and just where we stand, men and women, and gender is really about race and gender.
So are you hoping to open up eyes and make and make
that would always be the goal?
Make men and women more sympathetic to each other.
Yes, and to understand just that we live in a very patriarchal culture. And therefore, while there are options for women, there aren't enough. I mean, it's a lot better than Afghanistan, but it's not equal pay for equal work.
Right. And women ought to really be a little more sympathetic to each other.
That's very important.
Right. Okay. We'll start to get right. Thanks for being on the show, Susan. I appreciate it. You're watching Getting Your Money's Worth. I'm Judith West. Thanks for watching.